All right, we're live again. And what we want you guys to do, of course, as per usual, is just go ahead and share the video and get ready for a lively debate. Today, we're going to talk about some political issues. Make sure you go ahead and hit the share button so that all of your friends will, in fact, appreciate you. You have joined us for another episode of The Quit List. Today, I'm on the show with my guest. I'm going to go with Charles Butler. Charles Butler is a conservative talk show host. Charles, welcome to The Quit List.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm also joined on the show by attorney Gavin Jackson. Gavin is an entrepreneur and businessman. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you, good brother.
Also here with Dr. Gerard McClendon. He is a professor of sociology at Chicago State University. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Issue number one on the quit list, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Just this week, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and now with just less than 40 days to go to the presidential election, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is adamant about pushing through a nominee for the Supreme Court. Lindsey Graham also said, we are going to move forward in the process. I want to go to Dr. McClendon first on this. Doc, why do you think they're so adamant about pushing it through? And do you think they will actually do it?
It's politics. I mean, the game of politics is riddled with inconsistency, trick shooting, favors, kindness for the wrong reasons, storm clouds of rudeness for the right reasons. But it's politics. I mean, anytime you have power, it's hard to give up that power. This is a power play. This is chess that's being played right now. Whether the person is going to be nominated and accepted and actually voted in, that's a whole nother story. But this is politics as usual. Democrats and Republicans do it. It doesn't matter what society you're in, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter that people didn't mourn Ruth Bader Ginsburg effectively. That's you have to put all that aside because this is a political move. This is chess.
Charles, you think they will actually do it?
Oh, no question. It's the Constitution. They have a constitutional responsibility to do it. It's not about politics. It's about the law. The Constitution is very clear that the president is supposed to nominate a justice. Now, the law also states that the Senate has consent and advise. So the Senate can vote or not vote on his nominee. But at the end of the day, the president has the responsibility to nominate a justice.
How do you square that when Barack Obama was president and he had 10 months, almost a year before his election, the end of his term, and these same guys, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, they said that no, you can't do it. So if it was the law, is that hypocritical? What do you think is going on there?
No, it's not hypocritical. It's the law. Like I said, when you have.
I mean, but what was it the law then? Why do you think they didn't do it then?
Wait a minute. Like I told you, the president nominated a candidate, right? He nominated justice, right? That's the law. The Senate checks and balances. The Senate can either vote on the nominee or not vote on the nominee. That's the power of the Senate. That's the checks and balances. So historically, when a president is caught in an election year and his party is not in power, he does it like Lincoln. Lincoln didn't submit a candidate when he had an opportunity, because the Democrats control the Senate, and he knew that his nominee would get shot down. So he said, "Why do it?" But see, Barack tried to bully the Senate, and the Senate said, "No, we're not being bullied. We're not going to be embarrassed. We don't care." So Barack always played those games. He always played on being half black and not being challenged because he was black, and they would be perceived as. And this is one time when the Senate stood their ground, which they should have, and they historically have. So whether it was Republicans or Democrat, it's always played out that way. Doesn't make any difference. If you're the president and you make a nomination in the election year, and your party's not in you're not going to get it done. That's just historically the way it's been.
Attorney Jackson, real quick, I wanted to find out. I have a question for you, but before I ask you this question, could you just give us a brief idea, just for some of our viewers, as to what the makeup of the court is at this point?
So at this point, if the Republicans are able to place someone on the court, which I agree that they will be, then there will be 6 justices that are conservative or appointed by conservatives, and 3 justices that are appointed by Democrats or liberals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so at this point, now that we are faced with this prospect of 6 conservatives on the court, and just for the folks who may not know, there's 9 Supreme Court justices that serve on the court at any particular time. One of the things that Chuck Schumer says is that if the Republicans move forward, it would spell the end of this great deliberative body. Is he right about that?
No, he's not right about that, but he is right that the power of the Supreme Court is extraordinary because of the lifetime appointment nature of the Supreme Court. And so, number one, first I want to say I actually agree with Mr. Butler that the Senate does have the right. The Senate had the right with Barack Obama. They said, hey, we're the Senate, and the Constitution gives us a power to, to not even consent to who you've nominated. And that's their power, and they used it. They did lie a little bit and say, hey, we would do the same thing if there was a Republican in the last year. That was a lie, but I don't have any problem with lying in politics because that's politics. I think that when the Democrats think that people are going to act in good faith instead of acting to the full extent of their power, they're playing checkers instead of, like Dr. McClendon said, playing chess.
Yeah.
So just like the Senate had the power 4 years ago, they legally have the power now. And so to be able to appoint somebody, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, to the Supreme Court means you get another 30 to 40 years of your ideology on the court. It's smart chess, even though it is hypocritical based on the statements and the rationale they used 4 years ago.
No,
how about the idea?
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Wait, Charles, what's not true? The hypocrisy?
Yeah. Because
Lindsey Graham was very specific.
Yeah.
He said that, please use my words against me.
Yeah.
If in the last year of a Republican president, we would try to put someone on court. He said, use my words against me because I would never do that.
But Lindsey Graham was not, he was a member of the Judiciary Committee.
He's the chair now.
But he is, wait a minute, let me finish. He was a member then in 2016. He was not the chair. So at the end of the day, personally, I mean, I worked in Washington. I know these politicians personally.
I want to hear why that's not hypocrisy.
But I could care less what Lindsey Graham had to say. Lindsey Graham was pontificating for airtime. That's Lindsey Graham.
That's fine. It's still hypocrisy. That's fine.
Wait. So that's one person. But when you're trying to what you're implying. Maybe you're not implying that. But let me set the record straight. Republicans. Gerard, what is that?
6'3", 4'5", and 5'4". Go ahead, Charles.
I can't see it. I can't see it. What is it?
He's holding up a note that says 6'3". He's talking about the makeup of the court. 6'3".
Yeah, the court could be 6'3", but this is the problem. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had an opportunity, and remember when Harry Reid was leader of the Senate, they could have changed. Barack Obama appointed 2 liberal women judges to the court.
Yes.
He went to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she said, this is what she said, not anybody from the Obama administration. She said, the Obama administration is trying to get me to resign, but I'm not going to. She said that. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, chick, you 80 years old. You got one foot on a banana peel and the other one over a grave, and you're a pancreas cancer survivor.
Oh, let's go, Charles.
People don't survive pancreatic cancer, dude.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You got 6 weeks, and that's it.
And if Barack Obama was the persuasive politician that he was held to be, he probably could have gotten Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire. But you're right.
That's not the case. So Charles and Gerard, you're right. The reason that she did, and it was a poor assumption, the reason is because Ruth Bader Ginsburg was placed on the court by Hillary Clinton. Technically, it was Bill Clinton, obviously the president, but everyone knows that Hillary made that choice. Hillary wanted this woman,
Right.
and
That's
Hillary and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are very, very close friends.
That's right. That's
She made the stupid assumption that Hillary would win the presidency, and she wanted her mentee to replace her.
That's exactly.
That was a risk.
Here we go.
Hey,
That was a huge risk, and it didn't work out for her. But she wanted her girl to pick her replacement.
and you know what? It did work out. She didn't quite make it, but she hung in there. But check this out. I did this story last Wednesday about why Ruth Bader Ginsburg should check out. This is before she died. That she needed to check out so we could replace her. And Friday,
that sounds suspicious, Charles. It sounds suspicious.
Wow.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, Charles.
Okay. So one of the things
I haven't left my apartment. Okay.
Charles, one of the things he said he hadn't left his apartment. One of the things they're talking about doing, the Democrats do not have any leverage in this particular instance because the Republicans do control the Senate. Now, that means that they can, in fact, appoint and approve. The president just has to approve that appointment. If they do that, the Democrats are saying we have no other recourse. One of the things they're bouncing around is whether they should then expand the court and then pack the court their way. Now, I see Charles Butler with a grin. What do you think of that notion that the Democrats expand the court?
Let's throw this to Mr. Jackson and Mr. McClendon, because they know that's so damn.
Well, so historically, let's just first look at the facts. Historically, the court has not always been the same size. Right. The Senate has changed the size of the court, I believe, 7 times in the history of our country. So changing the size of the court, smaller or bigger, would not be a novel thing. Mm-hmm. Number 2, now that you realize that you are dealing with an absolute cold, ruthless Republican Party that will use every legal constitutional remedy in their quiver, I think that the Democrats, should they get the presidency and the Senate, which is a long shot, should they get it, they must pack the courts, because the Republicans would do the same thing. I say forget 11, go 13.
What do you think of that, McClendon? What do you think?
It's about numbers at this point. And, this is the sad part about Democrats. Democrats are always expecting someone to play fair. Democrats always want people to be nice. Let's use referees that aren't partial. Charles and I, we've talked about this before. Democrats fall in love and Republicans fall in line, right? And this is exactly what we see happening right now. I mean, even if you try to stack the court and say, okay, we're going to make it 13 or we're going to make it 21 judges, we're going to stack it with all of these Democrats. See, you're still in a situation where if the Republicans ever gain power again with 21, the Democrats going to be saying, I wish we had 23, and so here's the thing. Power, Frederick Douglass, right? Power concedes nothing without a demand. And here's the thing. Democrats don't demand anything.
I agree.
Okay, we're at the end of issue number 1. It's time for us to hit it or quit it. So what I want to know is, would you guys say yes or no? Hit it means yes, quit it means no. Now, as Attorney Jackson has already pointed out, we recognize that the court has not always been 9 people. Sometimes there has been as few as 5 and as much as 10 justices on the court. Now, all it takes is an act of Congress and then the president to sign that act in order for them to change that number of people on the court. So the question is, hit it or quit it? I want to go to Charles Butler. Would you say that the Dems should expand the court if the Republicans push through a nominee?
Quit it.
Attorney Jackson, hit it or quit it?
Absolutely hit it. The game is chess, not checkers. Use everything you have.
Dr. McClendon.
Hit it. Niccolo Machiavelli. Hit it. Take the power. We want 11, 13, 15 judges. Hit it.
We're taking this country back to traditional values. All that LGQBT, all them damn immigrants who are here, 40 million people who are here foreign born legally, another 20 million in the shadows. Hey, I want my country back. They need to get up out of here.
And the only way you're gonna get your country back is to get Donald Trump out of here. Donald Trump has no family values. He has no family values.
That's not true.
He's a puppet. He's a puppet for the system.
All right. Okay. Issue number two. Issue number two on the quit list.
Russian.
Listen, the bottom line is let's look at Donald Trump and the things you just said. When my sister is a psychiatrist.
Charles, you got 30 seconds. Make your point.
My sister's a psychiatrist, and she says this about Donald Trump. When you look at his children, all of his children are productive. They're not drug addicts. They participate in the business. They're all good people. That says something about his parenting. All his wives like him. I met Marla Maples, but her
all his wives.
And she and listen,
Girl.
she loves him. All his people.
He's cheated on every wife he has, but that's traditional values. Go ahead.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we'll do.
Hey, man, you know what? It's cloudy outside. It's cloudy outside. Stormy Daniels.
What?
Charles Butler. We're going to have Charles Butler come back and we can talk about Donald Trump and some of the other issues surrounding him. Issue number two on the quit list, the 1776 Commission. Last week, Donald Trump said that his administration was going to take action to promote a pro-American curriculum in U.S. schools. And that pro-American curriculum is supposed to be an effort to counteract the left-wing indoctrination in education. Now, this could be a response to the 1619 Project, which is basically a series of essays that argue that slavery and racism is a fundamental part of the American history. Of course, what Donald Trump is trying to say with the 1776 Commission is that we should not be claiming and espousing that racism, that slavery is part of American history. Charles Barkley. All right, Charles Butler. What do you say? What do you say to that?
Well, I contend that, well, and Gerard and I, we talked about, this is going to be in my book, that the country was founded, first of all, by slaveholders who England had said we are eliminating slavery in our colonies by 1812. That's what the Parliament told the colonists. That was their impetus to get out from under the most powerful nation in the world that was protecting them. And they used it. They used the notion of the lies that it was representation, taxation without representation. Those taxes were small taxes. You're talking about a stamp tax. How many times do you use a stamp? Anyway, and those taxes only lasted 2 years. The real issue was eliminating an economy based on slavery.
Is Gavin? Is this an attempt at fascism in the United States?
So one of the things that, one of the most famous fascists did, Hitler, was start to burn books to erase history, because they knew that if you could teach history, that people might revolt against the oppression that they're on. So they would have these big book burning things. Trump is trying to eliminate the teachings of the importance, as Charles says, the importance of slavery to building this country, because he doesn't want people to buck back against oppression. Let's talk about going back to traditional American values. A traditional Supreme Court holding in the Dred Scott case was when the Supreme Court of the United States, when Dred Scott, a slave that tried to sue for his freedom, made his case all the way to the Supreme Court, that Supreme Court said, our Constitution was not intended for you. You are property. That is in the records. That is history. And I believe that Donald Trump and his people want to eliminate that and not allow children to learn the Black contribution and the slave contribution to the greatness of this country.
Well, I think that is not what's going to happen with this 1776. I know people who are going to work on that commission, and they're very black. They're very black oriented. And what's going to happen is we're going to have a rewrite of history, and it's going to include black history because American history is black history.
Gerard, you think Trump wants more black history? That's an interesting perspective.
Well, let me tell you this about Donald Trump so that you know. I met Donald Trump in the 70s and 80s, and I can tell you for a fact that he had more black people and women working for him doing things that nobody in New York was doing.
Was that when the government was suing him for not letting black people live in his buildings?
No, that's not. See, let's get the facts straight. You're an attorney. It was a class action suit against all major apartment owners at the time. He was part of a class action suit that was settled. And the other thing is and so you got me off base here, but the other thing is Al Sharpton told me personally, I know Al Sharpton, he told me personally that Donald Trump gave him the seed money to start the National Action Network, and he gave him $1 million a year. Al told me that face to face. Jesse Jackson, you can look it up on YouTube. Yeah. Supported in 1999. He gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award at Push. He funded both of Jesse's presidential runs. The majority contributor to Jesse was Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that's how Donald Trump controls people too. Back to the lecture at hand concerning the pro-American books. Here's the thing. The 4 gentlemen on this show right now have the freedom to write their own textbook. You can write a textbook, each of you. Here's the thing. If the textbook doesn't get approved in the state of Texas, California, or New York, it's probably not going to be in any other school system. So regardless of who writes the book, if the book gets approved in California and Texas, you can have a textbook that can be throughout the United States. The question is what's going to be in that textbook. That's the question.
Gerard, for years, I have gone to my friends who were part of Coleman Young, who was the mayor of Detroit. I had talked to my friends for years, since the 80s, and said, why are you guys buying textbooks that don't include us? Why are you buying? No, I'm serious. Now, they have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on textbooks that indoctrinate our children into the American history is black history. I was telling a guy the other day, the first person to die for the American Revolution was Crispus Attucks, a black man. That's well documented. In fact, Patrick Henry etched it in a silver plaque, so you can't deny this. Boston has a Crispus Attucks Day that it still celebrates.
Number one cash crop on the face of the earth was cotton. Here's the thing, but what do we do in these textbooks? We give one chapter in a middle school or high school textbook to the enslaved Africans that built this country. We give one paragraph to the JP Morgan company, who owned all sorts of banks that basically mortgaged slaves. And so unless we have entire semesters or entire years built around chattel slavery, pro-American slavery is nonsense.
Well, I think that
but Donald Trump has said that this 1619, which was just a series of essays, it's not a textbook. You don't have to read it. It was literally just essays, I believe, in the New York Times.
It was.
And Donald Trump and people around him said this shouldn't come out, that this is nonsense, that these are lies, that these are Antifa, that these are anti-American teachings. They came out against those teachings. And this 1776 commission is a direct answer to not even putting it in textbooks, just raising the awareness on the 400th year anniversary of slaves arriving on this continent, just raising awareness. Sent Donald Trump and his people into a tizzy.
Not really. There are a lot of people who are in a tizzy, first of all. And I've read the 1619 Project, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought a little of it was over the top, but for the most part, I thought it was legitimate, fantastic research. Now, I don't know if you know the historian Walter Williams out of George Mason. He and I have a relationship, as do I do with Tom Sowell. And I can tell you, as a historian, Dr. Williams, as a historian, I asked him what he thought of 1619 and I asked him point blank, because I believe this with all my heart, that the American Revolution was fought over the abolition of slavery in the British colonies. Mm-hmm. And that was the Somerset decision in the English courts set that in motion. And you talk about Dred Scott. When I talk about like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson, they piss me off because they act like the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments don't exist.
So then let me ask this, just 30 seconds, man. 30 seconds, Dr. Stan.
Yes, sir.
I believe that even calling it the 1776 is showing and trying to make the argument that the greatness of America started in that year. The reason that they use the year number is because they're trying to counter program against 1619 and say that the greatness of America started in 1776. So even the title of it is already sending you off and trying to change history.
Well, I think
here's the deal.
I think Attorney Jackson is 100% correct. Go ahead,
I
Dr.
disagree with 1619 and with 1776 in terms of defining American history that way. We really have to go back to 1555. 1555 through 1619, when they brought the first slaves, that's how America's money was made. I'm quoting the rapper Akare. We have to look at a period before 1619 to really look at this thing accurately.
Well, when there was a black man who was at Plymouth Rock, his name was Hercules. And they've been debating. Nobody really wants to do the DNA test on Hercules because they don't want to know if he's black. But remember, black men were named after classic figures in those days. So Hercules was probably a black man, and he was at Plymouth Rock. He landed at Plymouth Rock. So we have a black man. Just like we had a black man who discovered the North Pole. Why isn't that in the textbooks? Just like we had a black man who won the Navy Cross at Pearl Harbor, and they never included him in any of the textbooks, and they still don't include him in any of the textbooks. My parents told me about him all my life. So when I called the 50th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, I was part of the Naval Institute, a thing called the Naval Science Institute. I was a lifetime member. I called a historian who wrote the history of Pearl Harbor, the repeat, and he didn't include Dory Miller. So I called this white boy and I said, "Hey, man, why didn't you include Dory Miller? He won the Navy Cross." This is what the white boy said to me point blank. "You have a destroyer named after him. What do you want?" I cannot repeat on this show what I said to that white boy. But if I could have gotten through, I would probably be in prison. I'd probably just be getting out of jail for what I would have done to him. So they named the destroyer after Dory Miller. But guess what? Under Donald Trump, Dory Miller is the only enlisted person that has an aircraft carrier named after him. They don't name aircraft carriers after enlisted people. They name them after presidents, after historical events. Dory Miller is the latest United States Navy naval aircraft carrier that we have. I am so proud that it happened.
And what I'm saying is, don't fall for the okie doke.
Oh, bull!
Don't fall for the
okie doke.
Wait. Just give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds, Brother Butler.
Gavin, I want Attorney Jackson to take his 30 seconds, and then we are out of time here on this particular episode. Go.
So when Donald Trump names a ship after somebody, or Donald Trump gives some crumbs to some civil rights leader, but with the other hand, will take away health care from millions of black people.
Right.
On the other hand, we'll try to change history with the 1776 Commission. With the other hand, we'll do all of these things that really affect you.
Man,
really affect you. And you say, well, he named a ship after somebody black, even though he is quoted as saying that black people are not as smart as white people. He's quoted as calling black people the N-word in his private conversations. He is an outright and open. He was at a rally the other day praising his genes and saying the genes that I have and the genes that all you white people have up here in Minnesota, aren't we lucky that we have such good genes? Yeah, so he named a ship after somebody, but preaches white supremacy to a crowd. I think we just need to balance the scales.
Let me tell you something, Gavin.
You are right. Good genes.
You're one totally confused, brother. Everything that you said, Joe Biden is a real racist. Joe Biden was with the segregation.
I didn't say Joe Biden wasn't a racist. We're talking about the 1776 Commission under Trump.
All right, we are out of time on the quit list. You guys have been amazing. We're going to have you back, Mr. Charles Butler. You got to come back with us because sounds like we've got some other things to talk about. Time for us to hit it or quit it on issue number 2. The press has labeled this whole idea as the press itself, actually, by Donald Trump has been labeled as the enemy of the people. We've got militias, armed militias roaming in the streets. Donald Trump actually has said that he may not accept the results of the election. The question here is, and I want you to give me a hit it or quit it. Hit it means yes, quit it means no. The question is Trump's push for this so-called patriotic education under the 1776 Commission, is that in fact patriotic, or is it something else? So the question is his commission patriotic? Charles Butler.
I'd say I don't know enough about it.
Attorney Jackson.
Based on the history and actions of Donald Trump, all of his thinking that the four of us have worse genes than him, I would have to assume that it is unpatriotic. So I quit it.
Dr. McClendon.
Quit it. Unpatriotic. Don't trust Donald Trump as far as I can see him. History is written by the winners. You three gentlemen are winners. Start writing some history.
All right, there you have it, folks. The Black Man's Quit List. Way to go. Look, there you have it, people. That is it for this episode of The Quit List. We've been joined by our esteemed guest, Mr. Charles Butler. Man, we appreciate you being here. We want to definitely have you back. Attorney Gavin Jackson, Esquire, Dr. Gerard McClendon. You guys are pretty amazing. We thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you right here next time on The Quit List.
God bless.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.